What's up guys, Rich Duperbash back in the shop. Just wanted to touch base after my first run with the all-new ARRMA Mojave 4S Desert Racer. Definitely lived up to my expectations in terms of speed, handling, and overall durability. This sucker took an absolute hammering if you guys saw my first video. Unfortunately, my first run wasn't without a couple hiccups. The biggest thing was the ESC. It just kind of started cutting out once I'd hit full throttle. I was able to finish the run. I threw in my old BLX 185, my trusty ESC from the older ARRMAs. After that, it was smooth sailing. I was able to have a blast and just rip around until the sunset. This is definitely one of the funnest rigs I've ever had straight out of the box. You might notice the ride height is slightly lower than previous. Decided to make some changes after the first run. Don't get me wrong, this thing is an absolute blast and handles killer. Just felt like doing some experimentation, more for my driving style. Pretty much get this thing more dialed in for top speed. At this point, I've made some major tuning, suspension, and power changes with the truck. Just going to go over the major changes and give you some feedback after the first run. Definitely had a ton of hard tumbles and hits my first bash. Basically ended up replacing this upper and this lower bumper support. Kind of pulled the screws out from the top. And then the lower framework busted in two spots down there. You'll see where the back corners definitely took some hits. Once those bumper supports went spongy, it really pushed the back end, and I ended up having a split in my body all the way from the back, essentially where the extinguisher is, all the way along this line. You'll see I loaded this sucker up with E6000 and some more fiber tape. Essentially just did both sides. This stuff is absolutely awesome. This is probably my 5th or 6th application among different rigs. Again, the E6000 is self-leveling. It's definitely way cheaper if you get these big caulking tubes, and quick shot of the fiber tape. Considering I tagged several boulders out there, I think the body actually held up quite well. You'll notice I threw in a V2 Firma 150 ESC in place of the stock 120 that mounts up here. I essentially used a piece of Kydex. I went ahead and heated this piece up, bent a 90-degree angle, bolted it in two spots into the receiver box. And fortunately, there's a couple existing spots on the chassis that'll receive screws, so I was able to put one screw on this side, another screw on the other side. You'll see the ESC gets a little close to the drive shaft. There is actually clearance right there, and just enough space to put my on and off switch. Also pulled the stock 3668 2400 kV and threw in this old Hobby Star I had laying around. This is a 3674, so a little bit longer, and it's a 2650 kV. Actually pulled this out of my original Creighton 4S. It was just kind of hanging around. I kept the same tooth count with the pinion. It's a 16. Unfortunately, the stock 16 tooth pinion wouldn't quite fit on the motor shaft. It just got a slightly different D-cut. Again, guys, this truck weighs about 10.5 pounds, so it really is an 8 scale weight. That kV is a little bit high at 2650, but I've already street tested this thing 2 or 3 times, and it's actually a little ripper. The hottest I could get my motor was about 130, ESC maybe 90 degrees. This 2650 is only rated to 4S. Hobby Star does make a 2200 and I think a 1900 that'll actually take 6S. I might actually throw something else in here. Again, the stock 2400 kV has plenty of kick. Looks like you could fit a 40 or 4274 in here and run this on 6S if you wanted. I know the all-metal drivetrain will take it no problem. Overall, I was happy with this sucker right out of the box. I did notice a power improvement once I dropped in the spare 150 amp. My aim with this motor is pretty much just a little bit more top-end speed without having to gear up. Definitely a super smooth motor from what I've seen in the past. The other major change I did is I decided to stiffen up my suspension. Essentially, I just swapped on the Big Rock 6S ARRMA shocks. The rears are actually about a ½ inch shorter than the stockers. Effectively, this dropped the rear droop just a little bit. Didn't change the oil at all. You'll see I got really nice compression. Really just wanted a stiffer setup overall, and I just love having some more adjustability with the spring collars. I'm actually running rear 6S Big Rock shocks on the front as well. I found the front 6S shocks are just a little too short. Essentially left me with an arms level droop. What I ended up doing was cutting 2 pieces of fuel tubing about 3/8 of an inch long. Essentially just drop those under the piston. You'll see the droop I'm at now. Essentially it's the same as the rear. Again, this is a way stiffer setup than what comes out of the box. Once the pack's in and the body's on though, this sucker actually feels really good for my taste. In a nutshell, using the rear Big Rock 6S shocks on all 4 corners, little bit of fuel tubing in the front. Basically, I think I've achieved the perfect ride height for my taste. Here's a shot of the suspension with the truck fully loaded. You'll see I've got really nice dampening and compression both front and rear. Again, guys, these Success shocks are a perfect fit. Only thing you really need are these little rubber axial shock bushings. Quick shot of the part number, it's AXA 1356. As far as the diffs go, I still haven't touched the front or rear. I did, however, put in the 1 million weight in my center. Think the truck came with 500. I'm not absolutely positive, but I will say so far the 1 million feels sweet. I also end up replacing both bearings in my center diff. These suckers are already almost seized up. Kind of surprising because they are rubber sealed. Of course, I did go through water, but I washed this sucker and lubed it up when I was done. I'd recommend just keeping an eye on those. Again, guys, the changes I made to the truck are really based on my personal preference. Just wanted to increase the top speed and kind of firm up the suspension. Little less body roll at high speed, and just a little crisper control going off jumps and bigger bumps. Just planning to get a quick rip with this sucker. I'll try a couple different locations. Overall, just super curious to see how these changes will work out. And just another quick reminder, guys, the second annual Sacramento Valley RC Fest is almost here. Again, it's going to be Saturday and Sunday, April 6th and 7th. Such a killer family-oriented event. Absolutely gorgeous location. Check out SacramentoValleyRCFest.com for more info.
Well, she's moving pretty nice. Damn. Well, she rips, guys. Yeah, the shocks felt killer, guys. Oh. There's a little wheelie. I don't know, guys. If this thing isn't durable, I don't know what is. Got some ramps. Well, just happened upon a group session out here, guys. Nice. You'll see these custom ramps. Really, really nice welds. Lots of hinge points. The sucker folds right up. Absolutely sweet job. Yeah, she's taking it pretty good. Oh. Anyway, but like if you push down on this, push down on the center, the front, whatever, this is a lot stiffer than it was. Oh, beautiful. Nice. This thing's been so much fun, man. Yeah, she's landing pretty flat with the suspension changes. All right, guys, well, that's gonna be it. Out of juice. Had an absolute blast here at the old urban spot. Awesome surprise running into a group session out here. Shout out to Keith and to Horace and the rest of the gang. Didn't break a single part on here, guys. I'll look over the truck. Absolutely digging the power setup and the suspension. Center diff feels spot on. I've said it before, guys, this truck is just crazy fun. All right, guys, till next time.